For our next topic, let us talk about the raid operation. Raid is defined as a surprise invasion of a building or area. It is a small scale attack of a limited territory. In police parlance, raid is being supported by virtue of a search warrant or a warrant of arrest. For a search warrant, uniformed personnel are being instructed or given authority to seize contraband or materials which are illegal in nature, as well as in warrant of arrest, uniformed personnel are required to arrest a suspect or a person. When it comes to its legal basis, a raid must be legal. It must be supported by a lawful process and conducted in a legal manner. This will be in a form of a search warrant or warrant of arrest. The raid may be in pursuit of a person reasonably believed guilty of a felony when it is known that a felony has just been committed or by virtue of hot pursuit arrest. So take note that in the conduct of raid, most especially when it comes to legal basis, proper coordination is imperative. Effect apprehension, one of the objectives of raid. So through this, okay, you can apprehend the perpetrator through the virtue of warrant of arrest, obtain evidence of illegal activities. So you can seize contraband, as I made mention in the previous slides. And lastly, the recovery of stolen properties. Through the surprise effect of raid, okay, the possibility that suspects can no longer hide some of the properties or stolen properties in the area. There are also factors affecting success of effectiveness of raid. One is the size of the raiding party or the number of personnel who are involved in the operation. Speed, okay, we are repairing on how okay, they will perform the given task and the time frame of that particular operation. The surprise is on how they will penetrate okay, the area or the place to be raided. The superiority of arms. If we talk about superiority of arms, we are referring to the caliber of the firearms that they are using as compared to their enemy. So the uniformed personnel must have a high-powered firearm if it is needed in that particular operation. And lastly, simplicity. Simplicity in a way that uh, the persons involved in the operation should know their tasks. Okay, the given instructions must be clear. It must not be complicated in nature. So those are the factors affecting okay, the success of effectiveness of raid. Take note that no two raids will be exactly alike. There are some considerations like the local situation. So when it comes to local situation, we are referring on how serious the situation is. So if it is or you need to provide for a high caliber firearm, okay, who are involved, so or who are in danger. So these are your considerations when it comes to local situation. For the time element, okay, we are repairing on how long the operation will be or will take place. So you should know, okay, or these are one of the considerations. Police force who are involved, how many uniform government agency are involved because it needs proper coordination as I made mention a while ago in the conduct of raid. Okay, it can be that there are agencies or other agencies involved in the operation. The nature of objective. Take note that considering the nature of objective, okay, objectives must be measurable. If we say measurable, it can be performed through an actual action, or it is possible to do. So take note that in the completion of goals, okay, the objectives, since objectives are specific in nature, okay, it needs to be measurable, and these are or this must be actions that support, okay, this is what we call goals. So we also have the members of the raiding party. It includes selected by the officer in charge. So the members are being selected by the officer in charge. They also consider volunteers with courage, initiative, and known ability, experience, and veterans of previous police raids. Take note that experience is also one of the considerations in selecting, okay, members of the raiding party. The size, okay, will depend on the resistance expected or the local situation. As I made mention a while ago, there are a lot of considerations in determining, okay, the size or numbers of personnel who will be involved in the conduct of operation. For the briefing of the raiding party, mission to be presented, or the mission, okay, must be presented clearly and reviewed in detail. Take note that every members, they have uh, vital rules in the actual operation. So it must be discussed properly and clearly to them, okay, their involvement in the said operation. So take note in the conduct of briefing, okay, the person involved in this particular activity must know how, okay, to explain properly the purpose of the raid operation, most especially its mission to the persons involved. When it comes to means of control, okay, they should be very familiar with the time, okay, the time of raid, the sound. Okay, if we say sound, we are referring on how they will perform their given tasks. Okay, slight, okay, limited action, limited sound must be considered. For radio, okay, for radio, okay, this is very important when it comes to communication to avoid the crossfire encounter, okay, in between their companion and messengers. So there must be assigned messengers who will give commands, who will give direction to the members. The composition of the raiding team, it includes raid commander, assistant raid commander, covering or surrounding party. Okay, going in detail or entering party, in charge of raiding vehicle. We also have in charge of rendering inoperative the subject's vehicles, one who keep an accurate log of the raid, gather evidence, make inventories, and testify in court. And we also have photographer. Planning the raid. The success of the raid depends upon the intelligent planning, competent implementation with speed, performs repetitiously. Take note that in all aspect of police operation, it needs planning. As we all know, plan is the product of planning. Planning, okay, provides the step-by-step procedure in order to perform such operation. So in the conduct of raid, okay, it needs a plan so that members should only implement, okay, what is written or what is being uh, instructed to them to perform based on the plan. With speed, okay, they should know their time frame or the time element, okay. If the principle or they will stick in the principle, the faster the better, then they should perform the raid as fast as they can and to perform surreptitiously, meaning if possible, okay, they could penetrate the group of the perpetrators without being noticed. So it can be they will act as a deep penetrating agent in order to uh, observe okay, the activities of their enemy. Another consideration, the terrain and buildings. So it must be included in the plan. Okay, most especially the structure of the building must be considered. The location of the place to be raid and okay, the proper way of taking information through surveillance or reconnaissance, and also the specific assignment and position of each members of the raiding team. And also, the participants must be regularly informed. Okay, proper coordination and communication is important in the raid operation. Take note of that. There are things to be considered when planning a raid. Needs for surveillance. This can be the basis of determining the terrain, the location of the place, the number of individuals who are involved or who are members of this particular group. So this can be a basis also in determining the number of personnel or uniformed personnel involved in the raid operation. Photographs and descriptions of subjects, most especially their background, so that you can also provide a high-skilled uniform member to counter. For example, they are good in bombing, so in that particular group, okay, you can also include a bomb expert, physical structure of the place and immediate area is also one of the consideration in the conduct of planning. Um, most especially if the area is, for example, located in a forest. So it needs uh, careful planning on this particular place or this particular operation for escape routes. So if the personnel involved okay, are aware of the escape routes, where in times of danger, okay, they will know where to go. Discrete photograph of the place and immediate area, the overview of that particular place, type of neighborhood where hideout is located. So is it near a residential area so that you can avoid the accident or incident that the civilian may be involved? Volume and kind of activities in the neighborhood. Is it near the public place? Street plans of neighborhood for possible roadblocks. So you should know if there is a road under construction, okay, you must be aware of the place where you can reroute, especially if you will escape. And confidence in the ability of the raid leader. So the raid leader must be confident or competent in this particular operation. The speed in moving into position and execution of the plan is another consideration. Surprise catch subject of guard. The simplicity of the plan. If the plan is simple, members can easily understand their part or their involvement. Divide raiding party into cover group and raid group. So there must be cover group and raid group. And of course, familiarity of the raid plan. So persons involved or the officers who will be involved in the raid operation must know the uh, clear, okay, the clear plan which is or which will be implemented in this operation. They should also know the move out plan or their escape plan. Instruction in the use of firearm. So familiarity in the instruction of the use of firearm can possibly help you to avoid violation, just in case. Instruction in the handling of traffic, okay, must be included also. So who will do this particular task? Instructions concerning communication signal. So there must be one person who will uh, who will be in charge of this particular communication signal and identify each other. So they must have signs, they must have signals to determine their colleagues, because if this may happen, they cannot identify their companion. They might kill each other. Plan should avoid crossfire encounter. That's why I made mention a while ago that they must have signal or signs to determine each other. Equipment to be used is also necessary, and repeat his duties to the raid. Take note, they should know how to repeat their duties to the raid in the actual operation or in their next operation, so that they will have mastery of their involvement or duties. A raid to be successful must have the following elements. One, we have mission. The mission consists of the nature of the raid to be performed, the reconnaissance or the product of the surveillance, or the informations needed in making a plan. So most probably the background of this particular operation. So it must be accurate in nature. Plans, okay, plans is very important when it comes to the implementation, because this will serve as their guide in their actual operation. Orders, orders of this particular raid operation is very important also, because it describes or it supports their authority to do their duties or their tasks in the given operation. Execution, execution or implementation, okay, is uh, necessary when it will uh, be the actual operation. And take note, when it comes to execution, the content of or the contents of the plan should be performed. In the conduct of raid operation, here are some of the considerations. Cooperation and individual effort is an essential element in the success of a raid. Take note that persons who will be involved in the conduct of raid must act as a team. The members of the team must thoroughly understand the objectives. So they should know the objective of the operation, the plan of action or the procedures to be done, the orders or their authority to do the orders. Each man should hold his assigned position until the team leader changes his orders. Before leaving the headquarters to the target area, the team leader must conduct a final briefing on the personnel. Assembly of the team at the designated area should not be too close to the target, and they must not show the appearance of a formal gathering. The raider's vehicle must be safeguarded to prevent the subjects to use it. Vehicles of the subjects should be rendered inoperative by the simplest available means. Men should be posted, depending on the number, to cordon area and to prevent possible escape and restrain the people from wandering. In the event that the suspect fails to heed the warning to surrender, entry must be made through one point to avoid misencounter. Upon completion of the raid, guards should be designated to protect the property and to observe or apprehend associates of the suspect. All members of the raiding team will proceed to a designated place for reassembly for a final accounting. Take note that it is very important that immediately before the service of a search warrant, the team leader should see to it that the proper coordination is made with the commander of the local police station having jurisdiction over the target premises. Another one, the coordinating party should inform the local station that their team is conducting an operation in their area. This particular gesture of coordination is not only manifestation of courtesy but also a safety measure to avoid the possible incidents of a mistake encounter. Don'ts in the conduct of raid. Don't take unnecessary chances. Take note that whatever is the content of the plan, okay, it must be implemented unless, okay, there is a need for you to use your discretion. Don't underestimate the ability or courage of the subjects. So you need to be very careful with your actions. Don't raid when not properly prepared. So there must be a, a preconceived plan in order to execute the raid. Don't endanger the life of bystander. If possible, okay, civilians should not be involved in this operation. Don't use raiders not well acquainted with each other. So make sure that there is a proper communication to the members. Don't forget gas mask when employing tear gas. Don't be necessarily rough on the subjects. Don't shoot to kill evidence unless seen by witnesses or by the owner or occupant of the place, applying the rules that you learn in the search and seizure. The following will be seized at the scene of the raid: weapons, which may be used against the raiding party; articles, which might be used as a means of suicide; articles, which might be used in escaping; articles, which might be used in the commission of the crime; and lastly, the proceeds of fruits of crime or those stolen property. The disposition of money and other available properties. Money should be counted and the serial numbers of the bills must be noted. Valuables should be sealed in a properly or property envelope in the presence of the uh, perpetrator. Property envelope should show a complete inventory of its contents. The perpetrator should initial the outside of the envelope showing approval of its contents. Raiding officers should sign their names on the outer part of the envelope, and a receipt should be given to the perpetrator. However, this is qualified by the decision of the Supreme Court declaring as inadmissible in evidence the receipt for property seized signed by the accused in case where mere possession of the item seized is punishable. Disposition of articles not covered in a search warrant. If articles are illicit or contraband, the same must be seized. Such articles may be used as evidence to prosecute the person or the perpetrator. Instigation is the means by which the accused is lured into the commission of the offense charged in order to prosecute him. It is recognized as a valid defense that can be raised by an accused to use this as defense. However, the accused must prove with sufficient evidence that the government induced him to commit the offense. Take note of this statement. There must be an inducement coming from the government. while entrapment is the employment of such ways and means for the purpose of trapping or capturing a lawbreaker. It is a defense to criminal charges on the basis that the defendant only committed the crime because of harassment or coercion by a government official. Without such coercion or the crime would never been committed. A bypass operation is an entrapment technique employed by a peace officer as an effective way of apprehending a criminal in the act of the commission of the offense. It is a form of entrapment which in recent years has been accepted as a valid means of arresting violators of the dangerous drugs law. It is commonly employed by police officers as an effective way of apprehending law offenders in the act of committing a crime. In a bypass operation, the idea to commit a crime originates from the offender without anybody inducing or encouraging him to commit the offense. Thank you so much for watching this video.